It's Bunnycast number 46. Today we have Killerfish being fascinated by Franciscan friars. I betray my basic technological principles, and Squato, to nobody's surprise, says meow. Stay tuned today on the Bunnycast. This is the Bunnycast Network. Bunnycast number 46, Travel Plans, recorded on June 4th, 2011. Day 347 of reading Atlas Shrugged. So much exposition, so much dialogue, so many big words. Water supply growing short. I don't know how much longer I can carry on. Only on chapter 4. Somebody make it stop! Make it stop! Okay, welcome to another recording of the Bunnycast, episode number 46. As we said, part 1. Yes, just
Yay.
like the short movie. Okay, don't worry.
This is part 1 of 46.
So, as you can hear, we have with us Sir, the Right Reverend, Lord Sir Killerfish of the Keenfans, and we also have, of course, Squato, and of course, I'm your hostess, Dame Helen, the LeatherClad. We don't have any guest hosts for us today, but that's okay because we do have some great stuff to talk about. Just to introduce...
It will be coming, just not at the moment. I just want to make that clear. I'm doing the work for that.
Just to introduce the podcast to those who may be tuning in fresh, we are the Bunnycast. We are the official podcast of the Bunny community. The Bunny community is the official fan community for the webcomic El Guna Shive. El Guna Shive and the Bunnycast have nothing whatsoever to do with each other. Make sense of that.
Only tenuously.
We're just
through Kevin Bacon.
I'm just curious as to which of us is meant to be the Jets and which is the other one from West Side Story. I can't recall at the moment. With that uneasy looking off at each other.
Right. Dancing. Anyways. Okay, El Guna Shive. For those who have tuned into the show through other means, El Guna Shive is a webcomic written by Dan Shive. He can be found on Twitter at Dan the Shive. His what's his DVR? D Shive?
Yeah.
No. Let me just a second.
Okay, so anyways, he's got a DeviantArt account. Of course, you can find his webcomic at www.egscomics.com. El Guna Shive is about teenagers...
Dan Shive.
Thank you. Teenagers having wacky hijinks. But these wacky hijinks happen to include mad science, super science, aliens, magic, a couple dragons thrown in there, comic
shenanigans.
Shop, lots of shenanigans. There's no Scooby Snacks, thank God. Am I leaving anything out, guys?
Cake.
Yes, there is
cake.
So I'm just distracted by looking at Dan Shive's DeviantArt page of what is not a pony. I think they could have that as a drinking game, that if you can find something that's not a pony at the moment, take a drink.
At the moment, yes. It's very important to clarify that.
Especially... Yes, at the moment. Because he's got at the moment, the first ones are someone's done a flush pony that basically is a spinning trophy. There is a Doctor Who thing. There is Hairstyle Meme, which is actually using Rainbow Dash, so that does count even though it's a human.
Okay,
and something about the mockery, which does have a pony in it.
God, I should have known. DeviantArt. What a hellhole of JavaScript you have become. Why did you do this to me?
That, Homer, is the Homer for you, because I know you'd be interested. That's the pony trophy.
Oh, I've seen it.
It spins.
Damn it! Damn you, DeviantArt! Okay, so...
Oh, wait. There is acceptance. Star Wars and Team Fortress 2. Rest is ponies.
I see.
Ponies.
Okay, so while we are waiting for my web browser to recover from the hellhole of JavaScript that is DeviantArt, thank you, Squato. Let's
The
continue.
sky of a villain.
Let's continue talking about EGS. One of the other two of you, thank you, Squato. Why don't you give us a brief recap of what's going on in the current comic?
Well,
You want me
what's
to do it?
happening is
Or-
Dex, the guy who's got a beard and things, he was sort of possessed or something, and he summoned up fiery elemental things, and they started attacking people, and so Greg, who's kind of like big and can fight people, he tried to stop him, but he didn't help. So Elliot and Grace joined in, and Elliot had to run off to chase a dragon thing. Grrr. And then the dragon thing knocked Elliot out, and back in the dojo, Greg had to teach Grace how to put people in a sleeper hold so they would fall unconscious. And when she did it, and then Dex fell unconscious. And then Noah, he came, and he's the shadowy guy from the comics, the
He's the goddamn
newspaper
Batman.
comics. He's the goddamn Batman, and he's got these things that he tomfers, and he hits people with them, and he helped defeat the dragon, sort of, I think. But no, it went back to Dex, and then it was unsummoned because Grace put him in a sleeper hold, and when he came back, he was just lonely, and he has a fairy summon. Hooray!
As a side note, we want to now announce that Killerfish will be doing his own spoken word versions of some of the great works. This series will be coming soon.
My first one is Romeo and Juliet. There are these two people.
Two
who
teenagers
were
fall
like,
in love, get all emo, and die.
I was gonna do it better.
Hey,
I hate that play. I really hate that one. I hate it. Yeah, give me Hamlet. People killing each other over and just repeatedly. Lots of blood flying out. Do this live on stage. I want to see live action that just has gouts of blood flying out of various brand new puncture.
what about the film?
Which version?
And not the anyone. I mean, the guy that did 4. Since he's basically got a hard-on for Shakespeare, because he did a 4-hour version of Hamlet, and before people go, 4 hours? Oh, I can't see that. He basically fills it with some of the best talent in Hollywood at the time, doing, although minor roles, their roles do matter, and they tend to have a lot of people being a lot of killing. Oh, and it's set nowadays in early 19th century. Not which is saying he does, but that because it actually helps it a lot better, because then they can actually put in more modern references to it,
and
it also kind of helps explain. Yes, and the reason why it's 4 hours is it's because he basically gets the complete text.
Yeah.
Only version to actually be the complete text, but visually, oh dear God, is it beautiful.
Okay, getting back to Elgunashive. You can find the bunnies, who again are fans of Elgunashive, on let's see, community.910cmx.com, forums.keenspot.com. Let's see, where else was that going to be, Squato? I know they're congregating elsewhere now.
Oh, bunch of places. Apparently, some of the other new webcomics too. There's a few spots that seem to be spreading.
We're spreading. It's inevitable. Anyways, also on.
I could make an STD joke, but
then I'd be having a lot more fun doing this. You can also find some bunnies on the Bunnycast forums on shastrix.com/bunnycast.
There is one other place that I want to bring to people's attention that desperately needs more bunny attention.
What's that?
We need to increase the amount of bunnies on Second Life. Because currently it's only Lomi, and I've recently rejoined it, so more bunnies on there, please.
I know Mystic was having a bit of a go with it recently, and he was working with Lomi, so I just asked Lomi what's going on with that, and Lomi's basically, that's his second home, so that's why he's there.
I would participate more, but one of the more recent upgrades to the client software has left my computer behind, so I can't really participate. That, of course, also requires that I have time to participate.
The other thing is it seems like a lot of people don't bother with it nowadays because they're making money, but the Second Life monies isn't working so much. Even though if you wanted, at the very least, if you wanted to mock just say CSI, just actually play the real thing, compare it to the episode, but then again, it's just too easy nowadays to just make fun of CSI.
That's true.
Yes, insert the yay. So the yeah.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Okay, let's move on to some forum news. We have in the EGS general discussion on 910 CMX a thread with the topic title "Better Superhero Name Than Cheerleadara" or Cheerleadra. I personally greatly promote this particular topic because, honestly, don't get me wrong, it's a perfect reflection of the stupidity that can come out of the internet sometimes. So I don't blame Dan. In fact, it's probably one of the funnier little amusing things that he's thrown in it's a tiny little detail, but man, it's funny. But really? Come on. Cheerleader.
Particularly because they got some it was the joke was funny until he had one where some people were like, she's a cheerleader, we're cheerleaders, that's why we like her. It's like, and that kills it.
Okay, also there
for the record, I know cheerleaders can be people that do a lot of work to get to their skill level. They can have a lot of bad injuries, and yes, there's cheerleaders in Australia, just more for, say, really big sporting events. Otherwise, I don't particularly care for cheerleaders, and I kind of do think it's a bit creepy when you have, say, 40-year-old guys that are saying about how great the cheerleaders, say, a 16-year-old cheerleader is. Yes, that's not creepy at all.
Hey, cheerleaders are people too, you know.
All I have to say is that a bunch of cheerleaders, or people who used to be cheerleaders are now playing in the lingerie football league. That's all I have to say on that.
Sexy sometimes indeed.
What? Did I fall asleep again?
Okay, for those who are overseas or who do not pay attention to some of the more bizarre sports stuff in the United States, there is a football league, as in American football. It's actually arena football, which is also popular in Canada. Anyways, the players are entirely women, and they are all very athletic. If you have,
I love how diplomatic you have been just then.
If you have an idea for what a very beautiful athletic woman, who's very obviously a woman, looks like, then fill an entire football league full of them, and that's the lingerie football league. Now, as you can tell from the name, yes, they play in some fairly skimpy outfits. Pretty much the only protective gear on the field is the frontline players have more heavy
headgear and shoulder pads.
Headgear and shoulder pads. Thank you. Could not bring the name to mind. I think it's LFL.com. There's also a Twitter feed for them. I don't even remember what the Twitter feed is. In any case, they've also been featured on...
I'm just curious as to how many people watching that would be watching with crossed legs in the entire time.
They are the Lingerie Football League is featured on an episode of CSI New York, and if you saw that episode and thought that was just a cute little CSI created thing, no, it's an actual that they used members from the actual New York-based team for the Lingerie Football League in that episode.
Wow,
as opposed to when
CSI today.
I was going to say, as opposed to when CSI did Second Life.
Where nothing was accurate.
Or the time where apparently someone had to set up an entire database, use a MS Paint, and then do something else to basically trace an IP address.
Right.
Oh, and they had to get right next to the person to track it, because apparently it's impossible otherwise.
Okay, so the next topic...
Damn you, someone walking slightly further away. You defeated me in my internet powers.
The next topic on the forums is in the art gallery. A thread that we actually covered before but has been revived briefly, and I strongly promote anybody posting this. It's the motivational posters thread. Just a couple cute ones down towards the bottom. I love this one. Let's see. Nanase. Because you're making a sad puppy face. Susan, I mentioned I can use hammers on anyone now, right? Nanase. There you are. And the subtitling is Susan, the Snark Knight returns. And of course...
for that comment, for it coming back, Homer, I've got to post them.
Okay. In any case, next...
the one I linked is basically a cat and a guy high-fiving with the comment, "Oh, fuck yeah!"
The next topic that we're going to cover is, I'm going to guess on this pronunciation. Pardon the noise, that's my daughter playing with a box. There's a... Okay, Terraria.
What was the expensive toy that was in it? I have to ask.
I don't know.
Because when they're playing with the box, they used to...
Oh, it's an older box. It's one we had stuff stored in and we just emptied out yesterday. So I had no idea.
And I'm guessing you're talking about 16-bit Minecraft game. Or the 16-bit Minecraft game, Terraria. Or Terraria. However it's technically pronounced.
It does say similar to Minecraft, yes, and so I'm glad you've taken
Yeah, I know. You want me to roll with this one?
Sure, go ahead.
A little bit. I'm not looking at the thread, but the game itself. It's basically what it sounds like. It's somewhat controversial because people were thinking it was going to be... I'll say it like this, where it's controversial. There's a lot of things that are basically cheats in it, but then apparently it does make sense for the high-level stuff. And that is if you're, say, mining in this game, and you want to get to the top of the world... The way you can do that is basically to fall in lava, you reappear on the top of the world, and everything you collected or did or mined still exists. You lose. There is no penalty for death, basically, which annoys people. But basically, the game itself is, it's Minecraft apparently meets Castlevania - Zelda type thing. Basically, you're in the world, you have to do the usual mining, collect resources, and... gather things. You can build, say, forts and things like that, what you want, but you also build weapons. And then after you do that, you then go into the underworlds. And the underworld, you get more loot, more experience, and things like that as you go deeper and deeper, as you finally go through a whole series of Lovecraftian monsters. And yes, they are Cthulhu monsters. Apparently, Cthulhu is actually one of them. And the one at the center is things like that. The final boss is a character called the World Eater. Apparently, they take hours to defeat, partly because they just keep killing you, and you need to have tactics galore.
Well, okay, so we've got an interesting new game on the internet with its own dedicated bunny thread on the 910 CMX forums. So certainly something.
Oh God, you don't know how big some of the people are, particularly because Moom got onto it, and when Moom got onto it, a whole bunch of other long-term bunnies got onto it, and when a whole bunch of other long-term bunnies got onto it, people that were had been following them or associated with them go, "Oh, I wonder what this game's like." The game is big, and to put it into perspective, this is the biggest selling game on Steam's in Steam's history because it's largely distributed on Steam at the moment.
Wow.
And yes, I do mean it's the largest distributed game on Steam at the moment. It's it beat Portal 2 and other big selling games to breaking records.
Oh, that probably has to do with the accessibility. I mean, it's a 16-bit game?
Yeah, it's sort of got a bit of a flashback, but there's things that it can get grading, particularly because it has a very limited amount of songs. They're not very long, and you will hear them over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And apparently when it comes to the Minecraft elements themselves, they're far more limiting than the actual Minecraft itself. Your crafting, your building and all that, it's not as developed as what you would have in, say, Minecraft itself.
Right.
It's there. It's a component, but it's just not as much as Minecraft. So if you're going for more Minecraft hard, this is not exactly it, unless you define Minecraft hard as actually having more monsters. Then this is Minecraft hard.
Right.
Because apparently it's more combat orientated than Minecrafting, as opposed to Minecrafting, which is more Minecrafting than combat.
Okay, well,
if you can't understand that, you've played neither one of those games.
if you're interested, go play. Otherwise, as Squato said, ignore it.
If you're interested, I'll tell you how much it is on Steam. I'm just checking that right now. I think it's something like $10.
And now this is the point of the show where we target the new people. I mean, welcome the new people. We have in the newbie intro forum, the thread titled "Hello to You All" by Untamed 9999. Yes, he is over.
Yeah, $10 on Steam.
What?
He is over.
It's $10. Sorry,
9,000.
I was just confirming it's $10 on Steam.
Sleep deprivation.
Gotcha. I'm sleepy.
Yay!
Sleep is for the weak.
I haven't slept in 5 days.
Actually, I've done 6 days once. I was entertaining that time.
Next up, we have a fellow named Cedar. Simply titled their thread "Hiya" with a period at the end. 18-year-old guy, likes to live outdoors, video games, webcomics, draws a little bit. Any questions? Please go ask questions if you have them. Invite, hug, glomp, newbie kit, etc. Go play. Next up, we have
Here's a GTO for
WinBB2. Simply titled "Hi Everyone." I like it when they keep them simple. Introduced to Elgun Shive by a friend on
Actually, you
site.
said the hi wrong. Should have gone with The Simpsons. Hi, Dr. Nick. Hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
There you go.
Yes. Next
and
up,
then he dies. Goodbye, everybody.
Next up, and last for today, short just a little bit, we have Namorvia, I believe, or Namorvia something. Generic intro posts of, hey, they have a robot the pirate avatar. That's cute. Cute little thing. So those are our newbies. Go greet, go meet, go hug, glomp, tackle, etc. Do all the things that you normally do to welcome our newest bunnies to the... What is a bunch of bunnies called?
Warren.
Warren. Yes, to the Warren. That's pathetic. We need something that sounds appropriate to the havoc, to the chaos, to the something.
To the
listeners, annoy Dan for this answer.
Squato, put that rocket launcher down. Put it down.
Okay.
Mastering power at maximum.
So we're just going to take a little break from our news today, and talk about the money situation. As you can probably guess from the last couple recordings, we are a bunch of jobless layabouts that have nothing better to do with our time than just chat your ear off. Doesn't that make you feel good? Take pity on us and send a little money our way. In all seriousness.
Hey, we like being a drain on society.
In all seriousness, this is something that we do in just because we really, really love to do it. And we want to bring you more stuff like this, preferably expanding it out to pretty much any topic that you'd like to hear. But we won't. If we're only doing this as a hobby, we only have a certain amount of time to do it, and that is this every other week recording. And only posting about an hour a week, and not getting to all the topics that you might be interested in. So if you do help us out by sending us a little bit of money to bunnycast@gmail.com, you can send us through PayPal. That's our current means of accepting cash. Then we will eventually be able to bring this to a full-time. This is what we do, just to bring you the bunny-related news, bunny-related entertainment of whatever topic you happen to be interested in. It'll help to pay for websites, equipment, hopefully salaries down the road, but just keeping the foundation of the show going so that we can keep bringing Bunnycasts to you. So, you guys have anything to add to this particular fundraising segment?
I like celeries.
Oh, so you like the Fifth Doctor?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird that he did wear celery on his lapel, but, it was apparently there to detect for some sort of radiation, so that if he did turn a colour or something, he could eat it and thus be safe. I'm not sure. I'm sort of out of it at the moment. Hooray!
Okay. Let's move on to our miscellaneous news segments. I'm going to go ahead and start this off. We're going to talk a little bit about the Windows 8 user interface. Now, everybody who listens to this podcast for more than a week or two knows that I am a bit of an Apple fanboy. Y'all know that I love Macs. I've been using them for years and years and years. I know enough about the Windows and PC side to be able to make a living at it. That's what I did for a number of years.
Cut to the chase, how much do you feel Windows is ripping off Apple this time?
I don't. And that's a big deal. That's a really effing big deal. See, let's go back to the most successful accessory that Microsoft has ever made, and that's the Kinect for the Xbox. Even that is not a Microsoft innovation. That's an Israeli company that developed the technology. Microsoft saw it at a trade show, said, "I like this," and made it a accessory for the Xbox, which it's fantastic.
Side note, it's probably of any device that's come from this current generation of gaming, and yes, I do mean PC, for those ones that are going to go, PC's not different. And the point is, if there's any one device that's going to be the most influential thing from that, I say it's the Kinect. And if you might not say it so much with the games, but with the technology people are using with it, particularly because, what is it, over in the US, $90, $99, something like that in the US, the technology they can get for $99 is the type of thing which they would normally have to spend $50,000 to get that type of equipment.
Oh, yeah.
What they can do with that, that's really the big push for technology at the moment.
Oh, absolutely.
Particularly with those that are helping people that are blind be able to navigate around places, getting the type of technology you would see in, say, Minority Report, things like that.
So, Yeah, it's a fantastic piece of technology, but even that's not a Microsoft technology per se. It's something that Microsoft popularized, and they do deserve credit for that. But the Windows 8 user interface, which people who follow the technology scene will recognize aspects of the Windows 8 user interface from...
Side note is the same with the user interface. Was that one that they had with that, was it the $19,000 table?
Yeah, less said about that.
House, or was that with someone else?
No, that was Microsoft's. It's the Microsoft Surface, and as far as I know, they've sold like 5 in the entire history of the product. In any case, the Windows 8 user
that was
interface
more of a
takes a lot from Windows Phone 7. And you'll recognize a lot of the basic design philosophy from Windows Phone 7. That said, they actually do make a successful transition to a desktop interface. This is something, and the best part about it is you could easily see this not just being a desktop laptop interface. You can very easily see how you can just pull it. Let's say you've got one of those computers that it's a laptop, and then you pull the screen off and it turns into a tablet. There's seamless. It is seamless. And you keep working using your fingers in a tap interface. And they're basing it on, from what I understand, standard internet technologies, which means that literally anybody who happens to know enough JavaScript and HTML can just start working on the apps for it now. This is fantastic. This is exciting. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with it.
Sorry, Homer, the way you made that sound is that it could be that Microsoft has actually finally got the balance between open source and the type of big project that can only be done with a single system, which is way Microsoft had sort of worked in the 90s. Particularly, they've sort of bridged it together and merged it to one thing. It almost sounds like that's what what you're saying they've done here.
Exactly.
Almost.
Huh.
Yeah,
that means I'll be able to actually program my DW encrypt program in JavaScript and sell it as an app for this then. Cool.
For those who are interested, there is actually a YouTube video that details some of the aspects of it. I believe, yes, it is. This is officially from Microsoft. The YouTube URL is www.youtube.com/watch?v equals P92 capital Q F capital W capital O W88 lowercase l, I believe that is. Or of course.
And if that's pulled or is blocked by your country, thank you, YouTube fucking standards nowadays. What's the name of the video?
Building Windows 8, video number 1. And
there you go.
It's seriously, I was shocked.
And I have to actually say one with the YouTube things, because I've had videos which have been blocked for me for asinine reasons, because as it turns out, apparently someone had some very small thing maybe on the TV, and it turns out that was apparently copyrighted to some other nation's some company in some other nation, and apparently because of certain trade laws, that's not allowed to be shown in Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well done, YouTube.
Yeah. Welcome to the bullcrap. Hey, you know what? That Google is a large company, and they have to play by the rules, which means that sometimes bullshit like that has to happen. I don't agree with it. I understand it.
Too far.
No, I understand it entirely. I understand where they're coming from. I understand why they're doing it. It sucks, and that's something that techdirt.com, that has every single argument I could possibly make about the issue. Okay, so Squato.
So Windows 8, if it's good, we can actually. It looks like it might be one as opposed to Vista, which is that you might be able to, if you've got Windows 7, aka myself, for instance, you might do the switch over to Windows 8 if it works that well. I just hope they've actually got 64-bit support for it, because hey, I've always been a big fan of their 64 versions of whatever Microsoft projects have been done. They're generally the most stable.
Sorry, my selective hearing cut in again. My selective hearing cut in again, and all I heard was blah 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 Windows blah 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 technical stuff blah 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 blah.
That's all right. That's all right. Squato, why don't you talk about your news story?
Yes, this is the first one anyway. I had a bunch of other ones which are entertaining for various reasons, things like that, but this was the one that drew itself up to be the main one. Basically, in Australian federal politics, to cut it short, the people that are in power at the moment are Labor. The ones that are in opposition are the Coalition, which is mostly the centre-right party, and they are the Liberal Party. Yes, for those people overseas, the centre-right party is called the Liberal Party, which is why it's always entertaining when you hear someone over in any country other than Australia complaining about Liberals when they're saying about the people from the left.
Hey,
Liberals to me are the right.
we all knew that Australia does everything upside down and ass backwards. So go on.
Yes. Now, what happened was that the federal finance minister, who is a woman by the name of Penny Wong, yes, she's actually Chinese descent. Don't move on from that. She was asking a question in a Senate hearing when Senator Bushby from Tasmania interjected into her answering the actual question and decided to bring on a side question. She cut him down, saying that she shouldn't bother with that because she was answering the main question now and she was going to focus on that. He raised another point. She goes, "No, I'm doing this." To which point he went, "Wow."
So,
if you didn't hear that, he meowed her.
Yeah.
That's kind of a weak thing to do, really.
It's like, I have no productive arguments, but I want to sound like I'm 2 years old.
She got quite pissed off about it. She snapped back at him saying that basically it was wrong of him to have done that because this was schoolyard tactics. He should know better because he is, an adult. And it is wrong of him to have done that, particularly because he would have complained if anyone had done that to him, but apparently it was right for him to do it to her. Which then, they sort of became a big thing over the other politicians and other ones of the party, because some of the other members of his party, particularly backbenchers, were saying, well, it was wrong of her to argue that it was sexist and that means that she was not able to answer the question. Also, because she's female, she shouldn't claim it was sexist.
Well,
he did. To be fair, he did make it. To be fair, he did apologise much later on, but it was one of those more backhand apologies, and then he sort of backtracked again by saying that.
Insulted, yeah.
Yeah, it actually was. He said, "I'm sorry you felt insulted by this."
I'm sorry you could not see how witty I am and how amazingly awesome my insult was.
Exactly.
And you were insulted by it.
Oh, but he makes it weirder because after someone asked him after he made his backhand apology, they asked him, well, what did he mean when he did it in the first place? His actual response was, "I like cats," and she sounded like a cat.
So, okay, here's what I'm
that
hearing.
Is here's the calibration.
Here's what I'm hearing. You're ugly. I hate you. I'm going to tell the teacher on you. Oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to fart in your direction. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to know why, apparently, especially people on the right, I make fun of the members of the party of the right in Australia, there's your answer. They meow, and then they'll say that they did it because they like cats. How the fuck did these people breed? I will never know.
Well, there is the whole theory that the more intelligent members of the human race do tend to reproduce later on in life, whilst those who are not as intellectually capable do pair off sooner in life and reproduce more often.
To translate this, to translate this statement, why in the hell do stupid people keep breeding?
Or if you want the idiocracy version, basically the smart people keep holding it off because they are too intelligent to do it straight away, and they can do better things at the moment to set themselves up, while stupid people do it because it's fun.
Indeed.
I'm sorry. The part where we're describing about sex and then suddenly your daughter went, wee, in the background.
That's exactly what Ow! Fran, no, ow! That hurts when you do that.
Bunnycast! Relatively live, everybody.
Okay, Killerfish. Do you even
Right.
do you remember what yours is?
Hang on. I've got a link tab. Yes, here we go. I'm talking about the news that the twin Franciscan friars, who rarely left each other's side from their births 92 years ago, have died within hours of each other. Literally, that's news. They both died of a heart failure. Apparently the same sort of heart failure, and they both joined the Franciscan order together as well. So
Not in that order.
It's sort of not in that order.
You want me to pad out time with the Twitter one?
Go ahead.
Okay. New South Wales Lawyers Association came out saying that apparently they want to have the laws changed for Twitter so that basically you can make it illegal to spread rumours online, or particular on Twitter. The reason for that is because rumours can devastate and destroy people. They can damage their careers, and they don't know who was the original person who spread the rumour on Twitter, so therefore they don't know who to sue.
Ah, for crying out loud.
They're not playing the game right. We need to make them play the game right.
Pretty soon they won't need lawyers anymore, and we can't let them do that.
We need to adjust the rules for Twitter because people on Twitter they don't have to worry about being sued. So we have to be able to make it so that we can sue them. You know what this is all about.
Plus, apparently these people, the lawyers that went through, I know some lawyers are really intelligent and things like that. They can go through many years of study of universities and etc. to get to the level they can. But if you're intelligent enough to not realise that the search function is exactly what it says it is on the box, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, it's brain leaking out ears. Stupid.
That happens to me every single time I'm on this show.
So,
the way I suggest you deal with it is just lay back, take it easy, and let all the stupid people go charging into events which will eventually kill them.
Sounds good to me.
In other words, you're the Darwin Award type of mindset.
Yeah, well, not the winner of a Darwin Award. I'm the kind of one who.
No. You want them to go out in the most amusing way possible. In other words.
Yes. Stupid people, start killing yourselves in amusing ways, please. I require entertainment.
Okay.
And I'm sure we've just suddenly lost a bunch of people suddenly going over to the Darwin Award site to read what the updates are.
That's okay. They'll be back. Just a real quick update.
They'll either get suicidally depressed at all the bad news, or they'll just laugh themselves to death.
Exactly.
One or the other.
Just a real quick update for those who may be interested or curious. Unfortunately, I did not get the job in Las Vegas, but it's not for what you might consider to be the usual reasons. If you will recall, a couple weeks ago, I had mentioned that I was hoping to get a job at a company called FrontSight. They are responsible for doing firearms training for police, military, general public, celebrities, the news media, etc. And what I wanted to do was to become one of their instructors. And I'm generally pretty good with a gun. I scored pretty well when I went through a class in college for the criminal justice degree program. I do very well with a shotgun, passably well with a pistol. I can do a decent grouping, but my skill set is based on what's called isosceles stance, and is definitely not intended for the training I went through. Was not intended for teaching you how to respond to live situations that require, thinking on your feet, having certain behaviors and patterns drilled into your head. The front sight training is all about that, and the instructor development, which I went through, is kind of like the Uber boot camp of this training, because they not only have to teach you how to be an instructor at front sight, which that's cake for me. You're an instructor at Apple, you can pretty much teach just about anything to anyone. But for the firearms portion, they were requiring that I learn how to do it the front sight way of doing it. Well, front sight uses a different stance. It uses a different philosophy. The safety training is just extreme, and they show you how to handle problems with your firearm on the line in real time. Just problem occurs, you fix it right then, right there, and if you don't fix it right then, right there, you get docked points. I learned everything passably well, but I couldn't execute it in time because, well, it's ridiculously fast-paced for learning if you're going through the instructor development, as this is the first time you're ever learning this stuff.
Side question, is that the one that some militaries would use, that type of method?
Oh, absolutely.
Or certain sections of same?
Yeah. This is... I know some people who are in the military that tell me that they never learned to shoot as well as they did at front sight in the military. It's a fantastic particular training program. In any case,
I'm slightly worried that I can hear Squato typing up and looking for this.
If you want to learn how to properly use a gun, go to front sight. It's absolutely worth it. As I've been telling people, this is the most fun I've ever had not getting a job at an interview. They do want me to go back for further training. I can't do that right now, but it's, again, absolutely worth it. It's the best firearms training you are ever going to receive, period. So
you might be with that company on their possible in future list if you can get your firearms proficiently in the style they want up to a higher level.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Should have worn the bikini then.
Guns.
So says the guy who had to teach how to use a sword.
Did he teach you how to use a cricket bat to piss off aliens?
So
No, you can't teach people that. That's genetically English.
Well, what's that mean for me being Australian?
you piss off everybody.
That was the news. And now...
Hey, it looks like we're ending this particular segment 10 minutes early. That's fantastic. We've never done that before. Don't know what to do with ourselves other than...
Well, I can have one quick one to as
sure.
a side note. Probably only take a few minutes.
Fill some time. Go for it.
Okay. Okay, another news one. Another Australian one. Yay. Do whatever you want. I know that over in well, in Australia, the big debate, one of the big debates in politics at the moment, in fact, this is probably the big debate, is a carbon tax. Just like in other parts of the world, there is a debate on bringing in a carbon tax. With Australia, I'm not really going to be going into it. Generally, no, as overall, I do support the idea of having a carbon tax because really it does actually make sense. The actual points for it, Anyway, because of that, there was an ad recently aired in which a bunch of people came out in support of the carbon tax. One of the people that was put on it was Kate Blanchett, as in Oscar award-winning Kate Blanchett. For those people who are also unaware, Kate Blanchett is actually Australian. Yes, I know the accent catches people, just like it did with the one that plays Jeffrey Rush.
Sure.
Because apparently people think some people think that's actually an English accent and will argue that it's an English accent, even though it says they're born in Australia.
Okay, go on.
The point is, she was on this ad, she was in there, amongst others, supporting having carbon tax come out in Australia. Then immediately, the controversy came out because she was in an ad. It basically amounted to rich people saying that she should not have an opinion because she is rich. And for people who are unsure about that, the whole thing came about from two things. The people who were in charge of some of the main media sources who have been opposing having the carbon tax came out arguing that she shouldn't say it because she was too wealthy to have an opinion. And on the other... Sorry, there's a weird light flashing outside my window.
That's me with a torch. Sorry, a flashlight.
No, that's why I was actually checking if it's a torch. Yeah, I was just checking if there was someone out the side of my house. Can't see anything. No, so basically they're either...
So basically a bunch of tools came out to say that... A bunch of tools came out to say something really, really stupid, and... a bunch of other people are giving the statement by a major celebrity far more weight than it deserved just because she's famous. Did I recap that properly?
Yeah, because more a case of that wealthy people are saying that someone that's slightly less wealthy than them shouldn't be entitled to an opinion because they're too wealthy to have an opinion.
Right. And this has been This Week in Confusion. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, we're going to take a little break here. For everybody listening on the podcast, we'll see you next week. For you guys, I'll see you in a moment. The Bunnycast is a production of the Bunnycast Network. All opinions expressed on this show are those of the hosts and not necessarily of the network itself. Because of Your Grace and Final Fantasy VII, Black Wing's Metamorphosis are used without permission.